Want to achieve network marketing success? Then you're in the right company. Hello, and welcome to Leave Nothing to Chance, hosted by networking marketing giant John Solider. Learn everything you need to know about the network marketing space from somebody who's actually done it. Join us every week for front row seats as we feature some of the finest and most successful personalities in network marketing. Leave nothing to chance. Join us now.
Hey, this is going to be a fun interview. A new friend of mine, a young lady that is doing some terrific things within her company, making a lot of noise. I'm hearing about her a lot. We happen to be in the same company. We don't talk about any specific companies on the show, of course, but I keep hearing about what she's doing. And she's lighting up Washington, D.C. and the tri-state area down there, doing a great job with her business. So welcome to the show, DJ. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you. And how about yourself?
I'm doing great. And it's just such a privilege to have you on the show. I really appreciate you joining us.
Oh, I'm really grateful. I mean, thank you. That's what I could say. Thank you.
Great. Well, let me ask you some questions. So, how long have you been in the direct selling industry?
I would say about maybe 20 years on and off.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, usually I would get involved in something and go hard with it, and then it kind of fizzle out a bit. That when I'm introduced to something else, or I bring something else, I kind of work with that. It all depends on what it is and my passion about it. Yeah.
Well,
So,
I know a little bit about your background because you were sharing it earlier. But what did you do before? Because you were really ahead of your time in a certain category.
well, at 18, 19, I became a vegan chef. My children and I became vegan, and there just wasn't enough dishes out there that they would like and eat. So I actually created a lot of different dishes. A lot of my food is Southern, but I've gotten more into some Caribbean dishes, some raw dishes, and yeah. So I do have a knack for putting together spices and different types of flavors like that. So I love spices. I'm not much of a big salt eater, but I will work with herb and spices.
Wow. Well, I'll be over for dinner now. We're doing this interview around dinner time, everybody. So
Okay.
you're making me hungry mentioning some of the things you were talking about. But
Um,
you were really ahead of your time because 30 years ago, I mean, today I forget, I think it's 6% of the population is vegan, and I think 12% is vegetarian. And so you were really way ahead of the curve on that, and rightfully so, right, for people's health, certainly.
right. I'm definitely about health. My first book was Back to Eden.
Ah, okay.
That was my Bible right there. I made root beer sodas using their recipes for my kids, and the one thing I liked about it was I would always add some rose hips to it.
Okay. So
Oh
you
yeah,
so you were reading Back to Eden and John Robbins' Diet for a New America, and I can't even think of all those books back there that I've gotten exposed to. But yeah, you were way ahead of me. I've only been part of that culture for 7 years and still learning a lot about it. Needless to say.
okay.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned just before I get to the next question that your daughter's doing something interesting in that space, right? She's opening a restaurant in Senegal.
Yeah, she's vegan, and then she went raw. She went out to Los Angeles. No, that wasn't Los San Francisco, and went to a raw school. And when she came back and she made some dishes, they were on. She made an open face pizza. That was the best open face pizza I've ever had. That was raw. And you'd be surprised some of the food people just think, oh, there's some vegetables and stuff thrown together. No, it's not. You have different machines that designs them differently. You have nut mixes, nut butters, different things like that you can work with. And you just have to be creative. And I'm a very creative person, so I like cooking. I can generally look at anything and make it. Yep.
Um, Well,
Love it.
needless to say, the health path is the right path. No doubt about that. So let's talk a little bit about direct selling. So let me give you a totally hypothetical family I'm going to make up here, and I'd love your response because You've been in the industry 20 years, as you said earlier. I've been in 40 years. Some of our listeners, like us, they've been in a long time. But you have young listeners. We have some people in their 20s that listen to the show that, been in a year, 2 years, whatever. And the family I'm going to make up is a 25-year-old daughter. And let's say she's college educated, right? She did everything right. She got good grades in school, did the hard work, went to college, got her degree, and got out. And all of a sudden, 2020 comes along, right? So she started out, got a good job, making good money, life looks good. 2020 comes along. Her mom is on the other end of the spectrum. Her mom is about 60 now. And mom was looking at maybe, hey, going to spend more time with the grandkids, going to work on my golf game, going to work on my vegan cuisine, going to work on all these things. And all of a sudden, 2020 came along in her life as well. And to that point, DJ, both mom and daughter looked at what you and I do, direct selling, kind of like it was either beneath them or it wasn't for them. And all of a sudden they look down the street and they say, DJ's home at 2:00 on a Tuesday afternoon. And she's home and we see her out and about at 8:00 on Wednesday morning. And we see her out at 4:00 on Thursday afternoon. And we see her not having to go anywhere and do anything, right? She has one of those home-based network marketing, direct selling, whatever you want to call it, businesses. And she must be making money because she's home and she seems like she's happy. And they get the courage up. They say, let's go down the street and knock on DJ's door. Say, hey, DJ, we didn't really think this was for us. We're still not sure that it is, by the way. But give us some advice. Why should I, as a 25-year-old or a 60-year-old, take a serious look, not only at what you're doing with your particular company, but why should they look at this industry as a whole? Why should they consider it when before COVID wasn't for them? Why today is the timing so good and why everybody needs to have a plan B? What would you tell them?
Well, we do it all the time. We're always sharing something. That's how I look at direct sales. You're always sharing something. You're sharing a movie. You're sharing something about a good pair of shoes. You're sharing something about a good book. We're always in that mode. Now, for the 25-year-old, I would just say to her, what is your network? How much is you worth? What do you consider your network to be? And one of the things I would say, when you work for a company, they decide what your network is, not you. Even though you could be moving up the ladder and you get paid every maybe, when you get a raise, but they still decide how much you get. But when you work for yourself, you determine what your network is. You determine how much you are worth based on what you do. You do the same thing at a job, you could do the same thing at home, and you build your business that way. And for mom, I'm kind of in the same situation. Like, I really want to spend more time with my grandchildren. So what I'm doing and what I would suggest to you is to build a business with residual income that will give you the monthly income that you're looking for, the time that will also give you time to spend with your grandchildren, time to take time out for yourself, whatever you needed. Residual income will do that. And you know what you actually are getting or receiving every month. And I just keep it as simple as that.
Right.
Just
And
know your network.
how important is self-development in your life?
I think it's very, very important. One of the main things in terms of what I see for me is being able to communicate. I have to be able to. It's a big. It's a big component of when you out here and you're working and being able to communicate what it is that you're doing. Meditating is another thing for me. I like to meditate. I like to take walks. I like to find things that will help me with my inner self and go within my inner self so I can get a general idea of what it is that the goals and things that I want to accomplish or things I want to accomplish throughout the day. So, and how I interact and how you interact with people. So all those things, I think first starting working on yourself is one of the biggest, biggest things that you can do in terms of, being successful and knowing what you're going to do and how you're going to accomplish whatever you set your mind to. The sky's the limit.
Do you have a favorite self-development book?
I have several books. One was, I've always wanted to be a millionaire. So one of my favorite ones was The Millionaire Next Door.
Mm. The Richest Man in Babylon.
The Richest Man in Babylon. So yeah, so I kind of listen to, I have a CD and I listen to it. And then one more is how to influence people. That book right there is based on how you interact with people and some of the things in terms of when you're working with people, how you get people to get involved, become team players, and things like that. So,
Great,
yeah.
great. So I got to give a plug for two others that you're going to need to read here. Okay.
Okay.
One is called Moving Up 2020. And
Okay.
that was written by me in 2019.
Okay.
Available on Amazon. Don't worry, I'm gonna send you a complimentary one. So
Okay.
you have to read them. There'll be a quiz. And the other, of course, is Leave Nothing to Chance. Now, Leave Nothing to Chance. I know people get this confused all the time, DJ, because they say, "How come your show's called Leaving?" Well, a big bank owned Leave Nothing to Chance for the podcast, so we called it Leaving Nothing to Chance instead. But I have to run my commercial, or my wife doesn't let me sleep in the house. She's terrible like that. She's like, "Well, make sure you tell people about your books." But self development is so important, and the stories that we tell and the stories that we hear, like your story, it's inspiring to hear. So let's come back a little bit more to you, okay? You've been a vegan chef. You've been self-employed. You worked for the federal government or state government. You're in DC. Federal, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm thinking I don't want to get into DC and get political. I know DC's. You guys are always wrestling with that statehood thing, right? I only know that because a neighbor of ours down the street has the license plate on, and it says, what does it say? It says something about statehood. I forget what it says.
It's something for oh God, I don't even. It's a name tag, and it's not. It doesn't say statehood because I really don't know if DC is a statehood. It's a district, so it's oh God, I can't even think
I
of
know.
it.
I can see the having
And I see it all the time. I see it all the time because I don't have it in my I don't have it on my tags, but I see people are for DC. I can't. I would just be.
I can't think of it.
I just can't. It don't stick with me right now. So yeah, sorry.
So let me ask you this. Tell me a little bit more. Like I asked you earlier a little bit about your family, and I believe you've got 9 grandchildren now, and you've had
9 grandchildren and 1 great grand.
1 great grandchild,
Yes.
and six children on your own as well.
Yes. Yes.
And, wow. So you have a big and growing family, needless to say. What advice would you give those youngsters going forward about, number one, when they get to that point, right, which they're still young, of course, but when they get to that point where they're starting to think about what they're going to do for a living, why they should look at the direct selling industry? And secondly, what life advice would you give them?
Well, I have a grandson who's now 15. He's 15 and he plays soccer and he wants to be really good at what he does. And I told him, practice, practice, practice. Know, understand all the moves. Take your time out to study. That's not just about getting out there, but study the moves, set up a plan. Um, Now, let me just back up. With my children, when I was raising my children, we always got out there and they were always little entrepreneurs. They were always selling little things like we had a lemonade stand. So we'd get the money. Well, I let them borrow the money. I said, listen, guys, you're borrowing this money from me. So whatever we do, any money, I'm going to make sure I get my money back. And then you can save some money towards your business. And then I just taught them. And I have 3 children now, 3 of my older children who are very much into working for themselves. I have so I see that to be really, really a good piece. My grandchildren, I encourage them. They watch me. They see me. Well, children, they like money, so they be like, "Oh, Nana, you making all this money? What you doing, Nana?" I said, well, I got this little home-based business. I'm working from home. Come over and work with me sometime so you can kind of learn the ropes. I need you to help me to pass out some flyers. Come to some of my events that I have. Get on the phone call. They have gotten on the phone call just to hear about what it is that I'm doing. And if they're interested, my oldest granddaughter, she's interested in beauty products. So I have beauty products. So she's my model, and I give her a little something. Well, I'll give her some of the product that I have. And she just asked me yesterday, Nana, do you have any more product? You have any more product? So she, those are some of the things that um, I make suggestions. I just get them involved. Yeah, I think that's the best thing. Get them involved so they can understand what it is that, I do and what they could be working with. But I've always taught my children to be entrepreneurs and, just even if you work in a 9 to 5, just be the best that you can. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they, that's where I'm at. That's where I work with them. I let
And
them
what
be a part of what I'm doing.
and what about life advice? What life advice would you give to those young people?
It's not what you expect.
Mm.
It's not what you came up to, what you was taught. Life is full of twists and turns. And when you're in your low cycle, that's when you're firm, you're working on yourself. And when you're in your high cycle and then you have something, don't be too big headed. Make sure that you're saving but investing, making your money work for you, and giving. So those things can recycle back to you when you're in your low cycle, when you don't have anything, because life is you're gonna have your ups and downs, but it's all a part of, growth.
Absolutely. So now, in the company you're in currently, you've gone very, very fast. I mean, you went to a high rank, like almost right off the bat. What skills did you use, or technologies did you use to go as quickly as you have?
What did I do? I shared it with people. I'm passionate about it more so than anything. Everybody needed what we have, you know? And that was what I saw. So when you help other people get what you want, you're going to get what you want. And there was a need for what we have, a real strong need. And this, the benefits that it's given to people, and the what do I want to say? The way I felt, just so heartfelt. It's just really heartfelt that this is something that has changed not only my lives but the people's lives that were involved. So yeah, my passion about what
So,
I'm doing.
so have you built most of your business locally there in the DC area, or have you built nationally,
Yes,
or
yes,
mostly local? So a lot of three-way calls, a lot of Zoom calls. Is there
absolutely. A
what's
lot of
your
three-way
what?
calls, a lot of Zooms. I mean, we get people on the Zooms. I have them call, but what I basically did, I do one-on-ones. I like to be like talking with my people. I like to be up and personal with them. I like the communication part. And people tend to, if they like you, or they kind of feel comfortable around you, they're kind of open up and be willing to listen to what you have to say. And I
Mm.
find that to be very a big a big component of at least being successful. You have to talk to people.
And it is
Yeah.
it is so nice to be able to be belly to belly with people again, right after a couple years of everybody running around with masks and nobody wanted to be in the same room, right? Yeah, I couldn't agree
That's when
more.
I was out there working the hardest
Yeah, exactly,
because nobody
exactly,
was doing no work. And
exactly.
I was out there because I believe in what I have and what I was sharing. And it really proved, it really proved that you just like I was telling my grandson, life has its ups and downs, and you got to roll with the punches. You got to get out there and keep moving.
That's right.
You got to
That's right.
believe in what you're doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me ask you this. So let's just take the next 5 years. What does DJ do in the next 5 years? What does life look like? What are we in 2020? What does life look like in 2028? What are you going to have accomplished with your business, with your life? Where are things going to be at 5 years down the road?
Woo. God. Mm. Well, I know what I'm working on. One of the things I'm working on is setting up um, generational wealth, creating generational wealth for my children's children's and children's children to come. And any businesses that I have, they will be a part of that. Educate. One of my biggest things is I want to educate young people on financial education, protecting their assets, knowing what assets are, multiple streams of income, things like that. So because I think it's going to be a different, it's going to be a different time, and it's going to be a different time in 5 years. What we used to have maybe 20 years ago is no longer going to be available. It's fading out. Things are fading out, and new things are coming in. So be a part of the new. The other part is that I want to travel. I'm going to purchase. Um, I want to purchase property here and abroad. I want to start doing some things as well outside of this country, maybe Senegal with my daughter, setting up, well, she always talking about it like a restaurant. So something to that, and also maybe a wellness center, something like that, but always continually to educate people about food, about protecting, just um, financial things that might be, that might still be available to us. Being able to. So for me, that's what I want to do. But the biggest thing is I love working with children, and I definitely want to teach them what it is so they can just survive whatever is there, whatever is out there to come.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's inspirational. I couldn't agree more. Okay? We got to treat that next generation very not only carefully, but we got to make entrepreneurs. We got to create those
Right.
next great companies and industries that some of the folks who came before us certainly did. I have to ask you, that Senegal. How did your daughter wound up there? That's got to be a story in itself.
She went over there to visit. She wanted something different, and that's where it starts. She wanted to change, and she had some friends over there. And she went, and when she got over there, she stayed for a while and noticed she was going back and forth. And then she got married. She got married, and I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" So she had just told me, "Mom, there's a friend of mine who's a lawyer, attorney, has a little cafe over there that she's not doing anything with." So we just felt like, wow, the way is open for us to do that in Senegal. And she's also sharing some of the things that I do there, and want to establish some businesses there also. So yeah, Senegal is on the map.
Wow,
Yep.
cool. It's amazing, it's amazing how people wind up in different parts of the world today. It didn't happen that much when we were a little bit younger, right? But yeah, my original sponsor in the industry 40 years ago. I don't know how this even happened, but he wound up living in Thailand all these years. And he's an American guy. He's from New Jersey, but he wound up going over there, and yeah, same thing. Eventually met a girl, got married, had a kid, and he's like living in Thailand. I'm like, wow, so it's incredible. I didn't go too far. I went from New Jersey to Texas, which seemed like a big deal at the time, and now it's like, well, New Jersey to Texas. People do that. People commute that now. So let me ask you this, DJ. So you've obviously got a plan, and you're doing very, very well in your business. In wrapping up, if you had to take a couple of bits of advice for people listening, be they our young listeners, right? I've got listeners that are in their 20s. I've got listeners that are in their 70s. I've got listeners in their 80s. I got listeners in their 40s. I got all sorts of people, all different stages of life. What advice would you give them today, 2023, going forward? What should they do to get themselves serious to build a financial fortress around themselves and their loved ones? Because to your point, we don't know what 5 years are going to look like. We don't know what 5 months are going to look like right now, right? We were going to hope for the best, but we have to plan that the economy is probably going to continue to be like it is. Hopefully it doesn't get much worse, right? Because that's an obstacle obviously for all of us. What's your advice to those people? What should they do to take the actions that you're taking in your life and in your business? What can they do?
Well, one of the things I want to say to everybody is stop procrastinating.
Mm,
Never stop procrastinating. Because you can look at the outcome of what you're doing and then you can see exactly we all know. So you see, I should be here, I should be doing this, this is not happening. Why? Because we're procrastinating. And we see a lot of that. And the other thing is work with people, like-minded people, like yourself. Just work with like-minded people. Start co-ops. Start a food co-op. Everybody pool their resources together. I have a mentor who always says that the movement of money creates wealth. The
mm,
movement of people creates headaches. But in this instant, I just always tell people, if you have a community, work within your community. Do things together, pool your resources together, help each other, look out for each other, because it's only as hard when you're by yourself and you don't have the help that you need. Don't be so dependent on places and people that don't have your best interests. You
mm.
know what I'm saying? So we all know that we have children and we want a safe community. We come together. We find out what we need to do that. We want to grow food. We want to have this. We want to have that. I am more invested in co-ops, because they're a little more different and they help. You can, it's a more of a communal, um, a communal vibration, as opposed to, you doing it by yourself, because no, we can't do it by ourselves.
Hmm.
We just can't. So
Yeah.
I think if we start looking and start getting around like-minded people and we start putting things out, we can outweigh the bad that's happening. You know what I'm saying? If when you it's when you do nothing. It's when you just keep looking and depending on other sources to be there for you, and you're not opening it up and bringing it out of yourself. And we work together. That's what I love. That's what I
Well,
love about the business that I work. We all work together to help each other.
well, what I love about what you're sharing there too, like with the co-ops. I mean, that really, to your point, that really is network marketing. You can't do this by yourself. You can't be a one man or a one woman show. I mean, if you don't build a team, you will not succeed. And the co-ops, to your point, yeah, it's same idea. It's right. So if I grow beets and you grow carrots and somebody else grows apples, well, we all need what each other's got, and we all have to cooperate to help each other to grow. So I love that. So last thought.
That's where I'm at. So I just want to thank you and thank everybody, and let's change the world one day at a time. It's up to us to change it. It's we the people actually that can do this. And there are programs out there that will be behind you and that will support you and give you what you need to build. Yeah, to build. That's what I'm doing.
Well, DJ Johnson, this has been a privilege, an honor. It's so nice to finally meet you, and
Thank you.
continued great success in what you're doing. I know you're lighting it up, but I know a lot of people are talking about what you're doing, and just you're inspiring people, our age group, and those younger folks that are going to come after us. So thank you for what you're doing as well, and been my honor to meet you today.
Thank you. You as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Leave Nothing to Chance. If you want to know more about what it takes to succeed in the network marketing space, join us again next week for another amazing episode. For additional resources and to connect with John Solider, visit leavingnothingtochance.com. Don't forget to leave a review, and we'll see you next time.